Today, we're going to explore a radical approach to peace, a path that doesn't involve fighting harder, strategizing better, or clinging tighter to the illusion of control. Instead, we're going to look into a profound shift in perspective, a way of being that allows us to navigate life's challenges with grace, resilience, and a deep sense of inner peace. It all begins with recognizing the pervasive illusion of control. From a young age, we're conditioned to believe that we're the masters of our own destiny, that with enough effort, determination, and willpower, we can bend the world to our will. We set goals, make plans, and expect things to unfold in a predictable, linear fashion. But life, in its infinite wisdom, rarely adheres to our meticulously crafted scripts. Unexpected setbacks, unforeseen obstacles, and the unpredictable actions of others can throw our carefully constructed plans into disarray. We find ourselves resisting the reality of the situation, clinging to how we think things should be, and waging an internal war against the natural flow of events. This illusion of control, when shattered, can lead to a cascade of negative emotions. Frustration simmers beneath the surface. Disappointment gnaws at our sense of self-efficacy, and a feeling of powerlessness creeps in, leaving us feeling like victims of circumstance. We may find ourselves questioning our abilities, doubting our choices, and wondering why life seems to be conspiring against us. The truth is, the illusion of control is just that, an illusion. While we certainly have the power to make choices and take actions, we can't control the outcomes. We can't control the weather, the traffic, the economy, or the countless other variables that shape our lives. And yet, we often invest an enormous amount of energy trying to do just that. We become so fixated on achieving specific outcomes that we lose sight of the present moment, the only place where life is actually happening. We sacrifice our peace of mind, our well-being, and our relationships on the altar of control, all the while chasing an elusive mirage. It's important to acknowledge that this desire for control isn't inherently bad. It stems from a natural human need for predictability, security, and a sense of agency in our lives. But when it becomes an obsession, when it blinds us to the reality of the situation and prevents us from adapting to change, it becomes a source of immense suffering. So how do we break free from the illusion of control and find a more peaceful way of being? It begins with a radical shift in perspective, a willingness to question our deeply ingrained beliefs about how life should be. It involves recognizing that reality is fluid, dynamic, and ever-changing, and that our attempts to control it are ultimately futile. At its core, reality is not a static entity that can be molded to our liking. It's a dynamic, ever-evolving tapestry woven from countless threads of cause and effect, chance encounters, and unforeseen circumstances. It's a river, constantly flowing, changing its course, and carving new paths through the landscape of our lives. When we try to control or resist this natural flow, we're essentially trying to dam a river, to hold back the tide of change. We may succeed temporarily, but eventually the water will find a way around, over, or through our barriers. And in the process, we expend an enormous amount of energy, create unnecessary stress, and miss out on the opportunities that come with accepting the flow. This doesn't mean we should passively resign ourselves to whatever life throws our way. It's not about giving up or becoming apathetic. It's about recognizing the limitations of our control and learning to navigate the currents of life with wisdom and flexibility. It's about surrendering to the reality of the situation, not out of weakness, but out of a deep understanding of the nature of existence. When we resist change, when we cling to how we think things should be, we create inner conflict and turmoil. We become trapped in a battle against reality itself, a battle we can never win. This resistance is the root of much of our suffering. It's the source of our frustration, our disappointment, and our sense of powerlessness. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves agonizing over past events that we can't change, or worrying about future scenarios that may never come to pass? How often do we judge ourselves harshly for not living up to our own expectations or comparing ourselves to others? All of this mental and emotional turmoil stems from our resistance to reality, from our inability to accept things as they are. Acceptance, in this context, doesn't mean condoning injustice or passively accepting harmful situations. It's about acknowledging the reality of the present moment without judgment or resistance. It's about recognizing what is, rather than dwelling on what could have been or should be. It's important to distinguish between acceptance and resignation. Resignation implies defeat, a sense of giving up and succumbing to circumstances. Acceptance, on the other hand, is empowering. It frees us from the struggle, allowing us to respond to situations from a place of inner peace and clarity. When we accept reality as it is, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We become more adaptable, more resilient, and more capable of navigating life's challenges. We stop wasting energy on fighting against the inevitable and start focusing on what we can control: our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. This doesn't mean we should suppress our emotions or pretend that everything is fine when it's not. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or disappointed when things don't go our way. But instead of getting caught up in a spiral of negativity, we can acknowledge these feelings, allow them to be present, and then let them go. Acceptance is a process, not a destination. It takes time, practice, and a willingness to be vulnerable, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we learn to accept reality on its own terms, we find a sense of peace that transcends circumstances. We discover a deep well of inner strength that allows us to weather any storm. The concept of surrender often evokes images of weakness, defeat, and giving up. But in the context of finding peace, surrender takes on a whole new meaning. It's not about waving a white flag or resigning ourselves to a life of passivity. It's about consciously choosing to let go of the fight, to release our grip on how we think things should be, and to open ourselves up to the wisdom of the present moment. Surrender is an act of courage, a willingness to step into the unknown with an open heart and a curious mind. It's about trusting that life has a plan, even if that plan doesn't align with our own expectations. It's about recognizing that sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as challenges, and that by letting go of our resistance, we create space for something new and beautiful to emerge. When we surrender, we stop trying to force outcomes, to manipulate situations, or to control the uncontrollable. We release the need to be right, to have the last word, or to prove our worth. We simply allow things to unfold as they will, without judgment or attachment. This doesn't mean we become passive observers in our own lives. It means we act from a place of alignment, responding to situations as they arise, rather than reacting from a place of fear or resistance. It means we make choices that are in harmony with our values and our deepest sense of purpose, even if those choices lead us down an unfamiliar path. Surrender is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace. When we let go of the struggle, we create space for stillness, for a quiet awareness that transcends the chaos of the external world. We tap into a deep well of wisdom and intuition that guides us through life's challenges with grace and resilience. Surrender is not always easy. It requires us to confront our deepest fears, to let go of our attachments, and to trust in something larger than ourselves. But the more we practice surrender, the easier it becomes. And the more we surrender, the more we discover the profound peace that comes from aligning ourselves with the flow of life. So how do we cultivate this inner peace, this sense of surrender in our daily lives? It begins with a commitment to self-awareness. By paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, we become more attuned to the subtle signals that indicate when we're resisting reality or clinging to an outdated narrative. Mindfulness meditation is a powerful practice for cultivating self-awareness and inner peace. By simply observing our breath and the sensations in our body, we learn to anchor ourselves in the present moment, to let go of thoughts about the past or future, and to simply be. Deep breathing exercises can also be helpful for calming the nervous system and reducing stress. When we're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, taking a few deep breaths can help us to reconnect with our inner peace and to respond to the situation from a place of centeredness. Spending time in nature can also be incredibly restorative. The natural world reminds us of the interconnectedness of all things, the cyclical nature of life, and the beauty that arises from surrender to the flow. Whether it's a walk in the woods, a swim in the ocean, or simply sitting under a tree, connecting with nature can help us to let go of our worries and to tap into a deeper sense of peace. It's important to cultivate self-compassion. We all make mistakes. We all have moments of weakness, and we all experience setbacks. Instead of judging ourselves harshly, we can learn to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding. The journey to inner peace is not a linear one. There will be days when surrender feels easy, and there will be days when it feels impossible. The key is to keep practicing, to keep coming back to the present moment, and a trust that with time and patience, the peace you seek will find you. The unknown can be a source of great anxiety. We crave predictability, a sense of knowing what's coming next. But the reality is, life is inherently unpredictable. We can't know what tomorrow will bring, what challenges we'll face, or what opportunities will present themselves. Instead of fearing the unknown, what if we learned to accept it? What if we saw it not as a threat, but as an invitation to step outside our comfort zones, to expand our horizons, and to discover new facets of ourselves? When we cling to the familiar, we limit our potential for growth. We stay stuck in the same patterns, the same routines, the same ways of thinking and being. But when we open ourselves up to the unknown, we create space for magic to happen. We allow ourselves to be surprised, delighted, and transformed by the unexpected twists and turns of life. Some of the most beautiful and meaningful experiences in life come from venturing into the unknown. It's in those moments of uncertainty when we're stepping outside our comfort zones, that we truly come alive. We discover hidden strengths, untapped talents, and a resilience we never knew we possessed. Accepting the unknown doesn't mean throwing caution to the wind or taking reckless risks. It means approaching life with a sense of curiosity, a willingness to learn, and an openness to new experiences. It means saying yes to opportunities that scare us a little, trusting our intuition, and having faith that we'll figure things out along the way. It also means letting go of the need to have all the answers. We don't need to know every step of the journey before we take the first one. In fact, some of the most rewarding paths in life are the ones that unfold organically, one step at a time. When we accept the unknown, we tap into a sense of adventure, a zest for life that can't be replicated by sticking to the familiar. We become more adaptable, more creative, and more resilient in the face of challenges. We learn to trust ourselves, to trust the process, and to trust that life will support us every step of the way. The present moment is all we truly have. The past is a memory, the future is a projection, but the now is where life is unfolding. When we get caught up in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future, we miss out on the beauty and richness of the present moment. Finding freedom in the present moment means letting go of the mental chatter that constantly pulls us away from the here and now. It means cultivating a mindful awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, without judgment or attachment. When we're fully present, we experience life more vividly. We notice the subtle details that often go unnoticed. The warmth of the sun on our skin, the sound of the birds singing, the taste of our food. We become more attuned to our own needs and desires, and we make choices that are in alignment with our authentic selves. Living in the present moment also allows us to experience more joy, peace, and gratitude. When we're not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, we're free to appreciate the simple pleasures of life. We can savor a cup of coffee, enjoy a conversation with a loved one, or simply take a deep breath and feel the miracle of being alive. Staying present is not always easy. Our minds are constantly bombarded with distractions, and it takes practice to cultivate a mindful awareness. But the more we practice, the easier it becomes. And the more we live in the present moment, the more we realize that this is where true freedom lies. And so, we reach the culmination of our exploration into a radical approach to peace. It's a journey that invites us to release the illusion of control, to accept the ever-changing flow of reality, and to find freedom in the present moment. It's a path that leads us not to a life devoid of challenges, but to a life imbued with resilience, grace, and a profound sense of inner peace. If this exploration has resonated with you, if it has sparked a flicker of recognition or a yearning for a more peaceful way of being, we invite you to share this message with others. Like, subscribe, and let's continue this conversation together. Peace is not a distant destination, but a journey we take one step, one breath, one moment of surrender at a time.